Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. Welcome back to F1 Manager. This is episode 46. We have locked up fourth place in the Constructors with just one race to go. So we're going to actually make that race happen much faster than other races because I'm going to try to squeeze our off-season content within this episode. First up, though, underfloor research project done. And as it's middle of November, there's maybe enough time to get another research project in. I certainly have the research allocations to put into it, and we'll see what it can offer us. So even though I have a second project finishing up in a couple of days, it's late November and there's barely a month to go, I can squeeze one last project. The underfloor that just finished, I can't get a new underfloor project done by the 31st of December. Just can't happen. Window closes. So okay, if that's out, then the alternative is all in for one project, the entire allocation for the period for one project. And there's only one other project that makes any sense, and that is rear wing. Because of the parts that are seeing rule changes for next year, the rear wing is the last one, besides the underfloor, that is still even available to us as options. The rear wing I can get done in time, but only just. Here's how we pull that one off. So first off, 100% allocation, all wind tunnel, all of that into this rear wing. That's going to make it a pretty decent upgrade for us. Our summary, December 31st. Now that is already full input of engineers. Only as we're squeezing this in, focus-wise, we can only put a little bit slightly increased focus into a single area. Drag reduction, that's a big thing that I'm really pushing for right now, is to get that drag reduction so we can get that top speed increase. And it's not a huge top speed increase, but it is an increase. And how the car would be looking following this upgrade is decent. A little more acceleration, definitely a decent amount of cornering improvement coming with this upgrade, about 0.01 kind of across the board in all cornering. Top speed under DRS, a little more acceleration there as well, better dirty air cornering. It's all seeing gains. I wish we could do more as we're doing such a major upgrade, but it's got to finish before the end of the year, and this is literally to the wire, the final day of the year. So this will be the last research project for the season, or for the upcoming season, that we're able to squeeze in. But then post January 1st, we still have a while before the season starts, so we'll be able to do more with the car as well. But the initial version of the car will come out as a result of what we have here. And I don't know where this necessarily puts us compared to the rest of the grid, but I'm feeling pretty confident that it's certainly going to put us in the right direction. Our fourth place, I think, is going to be an easier place to be next season, and I do think we're going to compete with the top three on a more consistent basis, but not necessarily be better than them just yet. I would hope by the end of the season maybe we can push up to third, maybe second, but I don't think we'll be competing for a lot of wins next season, but we might be able to grab a few wins next season. Just not quite be the dominant team just yet, but I think we can start leaving the midfield behind. And funny thing is, we only just started competing with the midfield. Pourchaire's development point has pushed him up to a 76 overall and completed our initial task. The reactions that were so low compared to everything else, the cornering, the braking, were both good. They were both 80-81 when we first brought Pourchaire into the team. The reactions have finally picked up those 20 points necessary and now have reached my satisfaction, my baseline that I was aiming for, pushing for. So next up, getting Pourchaire to be a more consistent driver. The accuracy and the control will come next. He's already got the smoothness, which is how he uses and abuses the tires. The accuracy and control will now take away a lot of the mistakes, as we're going to try to bring those up. Accuracy, the one further behind, and then we'll probably just kind of neck and neck keep those up until they reach about an 80 as well. The adaptability, overtaking, and defending yeah, we'll worry about those later. The other research project, the suspension one, is complete. It does free up some engineers, and it would allow me to boost the other project, but I couldn't start the other project without doing anything regarding that one. So I might have been able to take away a few engineers from here, edit this project, and put them into that one. We might have been able to do slightly more with it, but tweaking that was not that big of a deal. It's still going to be a pretty mega rear wing upgrade. But last research project in suspension is last year, Yas Marina Abu Dhabi was one of the 3 races that we managed to score points. Of course, all 3 times were Albon, all 3 times were 10th place. Porsche, though, I had his best finish of the season in P12. But behind us, there was 4 DNFs and Lance Stroll a lap down. So we didn't necessarily actually beat that many cars on our way to that result. But like this season, most of last season was dry races and dry running, and we didn't develop the car much last year. So Porsche obviously is going to have better pace again than Albon as we head into this last race, but I think our pace will be okay. But how okay is it? Yeah, not great. 3 slow sections, 4 medium sections, and 5-ish fast sections, but it's really kind of 2 or 3. Track's faster than it was. They did take out some of the chicanes. This is the updated version of the track, the revamped Yas Marina. Like that right edge of that map completely changed. I mean, there was a big kind of double chicane there, and big chicane and hairpin there. That is now just cleaned off into even less of a hairpin than what it was. And that wasn't the only change. They took out another one. They rounded off that bottom left corner as well of the track. But okay, let's get in. I'm gonna do my practice and jump into qualifying.
We're at Yas Island in Abu Dhabi for the Formula One Grand Prix. The Yas Marina circuit was completed in 2009, and we've seen a fair share of celebration and commiseration over the years since then. The scenery may be spectacular, but this weekend, all eyes will be on the track. There's a reason why the Yas Marina circuit is used as a test track. The long straights put engine power through its paces, while the twists and bends make medium speed downforce just as important at this challenging circuit. With the season nearly concluded, time is running out for the teams. Can anyone make a last-minute breakthrough? Can the leading drivers hold on? Only time will tell. What will happen this weekend? Only time will tell.
In a bit of a shocker of a lap, Alex Albon out in Q1 P16. Those used components for this last race are starting to really show themselves, but we just don't have a ton of pace here anyway, as Porsche was only P11 with fresher parts. This will be 3rd race on these ones. They're still in good shape, but with just a little bit of wear there and definitely a bit more wear here, you can see we're really going to actually be struggling to push points. But we're looking at another race with, half a dozen cars taking penalties again. Other teams wasting a lot of money on new engines here late in the season. First run in Q2, not great. We had traffic and a used set, only P14. We are now on the hot lap with 3 cars behind us. Good position here. We've got Guan Yu Zhou ahead, but definitely not too close. We're okay as we're on the back stretch. And I am nervous that this is going to be it, though, for qualifying. And, I'm not bothered by it. Last race of the season, we put everything into research here down at the end of the season, and outside of Porsche, we have definitely not expended the money to take on penalties. We have successfully gone through the entire season with Albon and 0 penalties. Porsche, P9. Hamilton's going to move up, though. That's P10. Magnussen is the one we got to watch out for. He can still bump us, but he does not. He goes P12. We barely escape. 1 position higher than what we had, and you can see we are definitely off the front 9 now. But that's going to be 1 more session for Porsche. Leclerc was the only traffic we had on our banker lap, and we stayed out of his way. I think he stayed out of our way. I think that's just our time. That's just our pace. That was the used set, but everybody else is using the fresh set on that first one. So we'll set ourselves up for one more run as everybody's preparing for that last one. And like I said, we should improve maybe by 0.2, but I don't see that getting us out of P10. Yeah, that's enough of a gap. We're okay. We're going to do this one quick. Like I said, this last race is intended to go fast so that we can do our end of season content still in this episode. So lap underway, Gasly out in front of us, sector 2, yellow flag. Somebody with a mistake. Was that Russell? There's a gap between him. No, it's Perez. And I think he held up Russell. But I don't expect that our time is going to be enough. Though we are definitely green in each of the first 2 sectors. And like I said, we do improve, but only to that 0.8 down. So yes, we're definitely off the pace of those other cars. It's the Alfa Romeo plus Gasly that are very much faster. Gasly's continued pace advantage over Ocon, I don't know if that's down to engines or if they gave upgrades to Gasly late in the season that they just never gave to Ocon. But there's a clear difference because those two are very, very similar drivers in terms of pace. And had been all season until the last few races.
Welcome to race day. And before we get down to it, last minute checks are being made.
Qualifying went well for Williams, as attested by their strong position on the grid. Now it's all about finding that edge for the race itself. We saw a solid qualifying performance from Ferrari, and they're sure to have their chance to push even further during the race. A sunny day here with only a few clouds in the sky. If things stay this way, the weather shouldn't pose any challenges to the teams.
And teams will have to make tough split-second decisions here if they're going to succeed. An exhilarating race lies ahead of us with the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix.
Plan is to use differing strategies in this one just to try to get something to happen, as I don't think we're going to be very competitive for points. Pourchaire, starting from 8th, has a much better chance. Albon from 13th on much more used components is going to struggle. So I'm going to be a little more brave with Albon's setup and swap it. For one thing, there is a one-stopper that looks to be a bad way to go. Looks like you could actually end up losing a lot of time by going with one stopper, as most compounds will fall off the cliff both before your pit stop and then at the end of the race. It'd be interesting to see how many cars go for that, especially if they aren't as great on their tire wear. Not pushing, of course, will help, but as for us, Pourchaire, seeing all 3 compounds in a 2-stopper and not pushing at all, but starting on that soft compound so that we can hold position, early on. I'm actually tempted to switch that up to medium, hard, soft, because I do think we can kind of hang with cars better. DRS helps us out, but then be faster at the end of the race when things are more open and see what we can do with that. So I'm going to switch that as well. But in the case of Albon, we're going to try to go long. We're going to try to use the hards and push a little bit more to keep up and not lose position, but that extends us further. We're not going to push that whole time, so I'm not planning on going off the cliff here, but then medium and soft at the end. So Albon, the idea is to be much quicker in the second half of the race, and I kind of like something similar for Pourchaire, just switching the mediums and softs. So I'll switch that and get into the race.
The drivers are lined up tonight under mostly clear skies. Here's Williams. With a top 10 position on the grid, this race could really go either way for them. And looking at the second Williams car. Slower than most yesterday, so today they'll be starting from the bottom half of the grid. The race start is mere seconds away. Hold on tight. It's the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. It's lights out and away we go.
All right, and we are racing, and like I said, we are going to race quickly this time. It's expected to be dry throughout. Pourchaire, Albon actually down a position. gets that hard compound there. I doubt that anybody else is on the hard. That's just him. In fact, a lot of cars opting for the softs.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Albin back up into P13. I went a little light on the fuel so that he can be a little bit lighter and help make up for the fact that he's on that hard compound. He was off the line. That was going to be difficult, and he's already managed to overcome that obstacle and get back into that P13. We really can't afford to keep him pushing though with circumstances.
Lifting coast level 3.
And let's go ahead and go neutral. Back up to Corsair. Hopefully in P8. Let's go ahead and save that fuel for later.
We want to leave
We'll get him settled in as well. Hopefully the idea is to be quick at the end of the day. So
You can afford to drop back.
Okay.
Who's running wide there?
Ocon runs wide and backs up the cars behind him, so that's 5 guys that lose a bit of ground, including Russell on a penalty, who's at back in the grid for this one. Joe with the overtake on Corsair, dropping him to P9. And a big spin there from Albin.
Let's have a look.
On the hard
Now,
compound,
we see
driving
the
casually.
Williams here.
That makes no sense, but okay, fine.
And that spin is undoubtedly going to cost them time.
So Albin actually gets going again, still in P14, just with a little bit of a gap here. Didn't lose much as Stroll was the
Aston
only one
Martin with a
who
great
has,
play there. They've moved
Stroll
up a
did
place.
overtake. But the gap there is 4.5 seconds, Stroll to Magnussen. So I'm guessing we did lose about 5 seconds, but we somehow held up this group behind us. The second train, which has split up a bit now as Alonso and Vettel have lost contact with it. Leclerc will be catching up to them before too long. And that will be train number 3. Hamilton still leading train 2, and Albin comfortably in place there. Ferraris are now gone.
And a new
from
position
sight.
just gained by
Albin
Williams.
takes Ocon to get up to P9 there. Opening for Corsair. He'll be pitting fairly soon. It's lap 18. Race is going fast, folks. Albin, no match for Ocon with DRS. We got around him with the help of DRS, but staying ahead of him on that hard compound is just not happening. But again, we've already, you can see that the tires are in a better state and will make it to the end of this stint just fine. Held position
Aston
nicely.
Martin with a great play there. They've moved up a place.
Stroll back around. Albin, like I said, that's temporary. No, get out in time. Corsair not held up. Same position that we were in relative to the guys that we entered pit road with. No, anything to see, but Corsair comes back out in P10. Those guys that hit a little early ahead of us. We've got Albin actually in front of this train. So Albin is in front of this long train that Corsair has just joined. You see how Leclerc just comes flying up behind us, nearly hits the back end of us as this train is so slow, and Albin is the head of it. So in his case, I think we're going to need to go more aggressive and push on because we are
could do with a bit more
holding
pace now if you've got it.
Corsair. But Corsair
copy.
can maybe start pushing and getting past a few of these guys. Let's see.
Overtake is available.
Already gotten around Vettel, so that's pretty well.
So heads down, focus.
And that gap opened up momentarily. Perez still in the pits there. Gasly and Sainz just got around Albon. Albon down to P8. Wow,
It's a race
really?
position
You just
gained
had like
for Mercedes.
4 cars passing in a lap?
Cool.
And Albon drops to P12. What the hell, dude? He is so slow right now. So slow.
More box this lap.
And this is, with
Okay,
44%
box,
where
box.
it's supposed to be far worse.
Let's
At
close this
last,
gap.
anything under about 60% on the hard compound is really rough, which means Porsche is going to lose a ton of pace. We need way down P13. He went from P4 to P13 in 4 laps. On track. Folks, there will be some overtakes. And others on their hard compound are fading. Now, Albon's gotten the hardest, most difficult scenario out of the way. He will be fast from here on out. This is essentially P3 down to P11, though Alonso is slightly out of the DRS, but just slightly. Russell, Ocon, and Magnussen in the in-between. Before then, you have the cars that are all out. Ricardo, Stroll, Albon, Schumacher, Norris, and Tsunoda. A little bit, this hard compound, seeing what happened there with Albon, I have a feeling there are going to be some huge pace differences in the field. Now, is everybody on the hard except Albon? They are. Everybody's on that stint. So, Perez at 90% is going to have a huge advantage over Sainz towards the end of his stint. But where and how they'll be, you can see Guan Yu Zhou already at 73%.
And a new position.
Albon got around Stroll, so you can already see that the medium is definitely quicker as he made that move happen without any type of push whatsoever.
Someone's run wide.
Sainz.
Good job.
Sainz runs wide, drops him to P11. So Porsche up to P7.
Keep pushing.
It's back within
Keep
that
pushing.
1 second, so he's okay now. Alright, so Leclerc and Porsche both got around Guan Yu Zhou, but Leclerc ends up settling in ahead of Porsche, so it's same position as the net
Was
on that
that a
one as we
lock-up
gain
on the
one
track?
and lose one. Stroll, who was close to Albon, finally loses contact as he has a lockup there. And we've got 25 laps to go. Let's go ahead and check in on what's going on here with the tire. Continuing to follow the fast cars. So this is all about Porsche now as Albon just lost too much time the last few laps of that stint, and it looks like the others are avoiding. They're somehow staying within the cliff on the hards here on this track anyway. Is about 50%, and we went off that cliff. Minor ERS damage late in the final race of the season here for Albon, and it pace. Mediums at 51%. We saw them holding up a lot better than the hards did. Let's go aggressive.
Happy to
And
increase pace.
get another lap
Okay.
or so here. Go attack. Go attack for a lap. And that's P8 and P17 for us. We got a couple medium runners, and we have 5 cars ahead that still have not done their final stops. So that's Albin now putting pressure on Stroll. So second and a half per lap on those front guys. So Leclerc and Hamilton are going to come out of the pits behind us. Gasly's going to come out behind us. Are they trying to make the one-stopper work? We know that there's not going to be any pace in those tires at the end of this race if those guys are going for the one-stopper. We're already approaching 2 seconds a lap faster than them. Oh, 127. It's not the fastest lap of the race. Sainz holds that one. But we are clearly faster than everybody around us. Gasly got around Alonso, so Alonso going backwards fast already. And we have multiple cars crashing. And safety car is going to come out. Safety car is going to come out on this one.
Safety car, safety car.
It's going to bunch the field up.
DRS is currently disabled.
If
DRS
these
is
guys
currently
don't
disabled.
pit, that's going to be really good for
Let's
us.
take a closer look.
There's 3 cars
Daniel
out.
Ricciardo involved here.
Ricardo looks like he's going to late brake and wipes
You
out
can
the
clearly
Haas.
see the contact there.
I only see
and
2
that
cars
caused
out there. I
a
don't
lot
see a
of
third.
damage.
Alright, here's the thing about what just happened. With the field bunching up and these guys opting to go to the end of the race. Now, the hard part for me is that they're gonna they're saving a little tire life here. But at 30-40%, reality is they're gonna be well off the pace. I mean, Gasly easily passed Alonso already, and there was a significant gap, so they're going backwards fast. Porsche has a chance here. Porsche has a definite chance here.
Safety car will be in this lap.
Safety car ending. It looks like Albin is not going to catch up to the field, so he's not going to be gaining a lot. But Porsche very much can. Let's already start changing this
Reduce
to standard.
left and close. Yes. Push hard. Happy to push hard.
Push. It's only a few
Okay.
laps, so Albin's ready to go. Yes, he's fallen all the way back there. So something's just happened with McLaren. Norris down to P18. That doesn't make any sense. Oh, he's a lap down. Norris is a lap down. That's blue flags. So we got impacted there momentarily by the blue flags. But we are now putting Alonso, first of those hard compounds that's stretching to the end under pressure. And Albin's P14, he's almost caught up to the back end of the field, but not quite. Red flag, that's it. That's going to end the race. That's going to end the race, and we're not even going to get the easy P7
Let's
that we
see what
had.
happened there. Now just take a look at the McLaren.
Really? The McLaren with all those blue flags?
Thank
we get red
goodness
flags at
nobody
the
else
end of
was
the race.
involved. That was a big crash.
Oh, wow. McLaren's
the team are
absolutely
devastated.
ruining our
They'll be
day, our
questioning
chances.
just what
I
happened
felt
out
like we
there.
could have turned this into a top 5 at the very least. Everybody on the softs now, though. So all that huge advantage, especially over Alonso, gone. wiped out in Porsche. Similar tires to what everybody else had. It's something used from qualifying. Albon, Stroll, Schumacher, Tsunoda, the only ones on fresh. But we are going to be full attacking, so what can we do?
Let's go.
Lap?
Probably. Okay, that's good. That's good.
Albon up to P13. Porsche having to defend from Sainz. That was Ocon. That we got around with Albon. Having to defend from Sainz, and then also Alonso doing what Alonso does. He's as wide as a boat out there on track. I think we're starting to get up beside him now. Are we not? No. Definitely inching forward. We don't quite have that straight line speed, especially without the DRS. Albon now P12 as he gets around Vettel. And watching the wrong driver trying to pass Alonso versus what Albon's up to. Definitely going better for him. Sainz has that fastest lap still. That's never changed, but I would imagine, well, no, this last lap will not be fast as it was starting from a standstill, standing start. That will definitely not lead to a new fastest lap, so Sainz will keep that, and Porsche unable to get one Alonso here. That's it, folks. P8, P12, Albon gains 2 spots there on that final lap, but Porsche unable to make his way forward, and that red flag did not help us out in any way, shape, or form, but my oh my, does that bring back memories of what
a wonderful
could
result
have
here
been.
for the Williams driver.
But that is our season coming to a wrap. Let's go straight to the points. Oh, and we have the double points last race. I forgot about that. It's going to be gone again, I think, next season, is it not? But it's here now. Perez gets 50, Verstappen 36, Leclerc 30. So both 2 Alfa Romeos, that's 28 points gained. We gain 8. Alpine gets 24, but I think we're still secure. Porsche, Albon's going to go down in the standings, probably being out of the points today, though. In the drivers, Verstappen wins the championship by almost 200 points. Hamilton gets P2, Leclerc P3, Perez, Sainz, Albon 2 points ahead of George Russell. Neither one scoring points today, and he finishes in P6 in the championship. Gasly scores a lot today, but that doesn't change anything. Alonso, Bottas, Porsche gets P11, Ocon, Magnussen, Norris, Ricardo, Vettel, Guan Yu Zhou, Tsunoda, Stroll, and Schumacher. The last 2, the only ones not scoring any points. 4 points for Tsunoda, 21 there for Guan Yu Zhou. I know that's behind the face cam. In the constructors, Red Bull dominates the championship, and on the final day, Ferrari has overtaken Mercedes for P2 in the constructors, with Mercedes finishing up 3. We do keep P4 by 50 points ahead of Alpine. I was right. That Alfa Romeo drops from 4th to 6th, though it was close, just a 12-point deficit. Then a huge gap to McLaren. AlphaTauri scores a couple points today, but it does not change the positions at the bottom. Just 3 points ahead of AlphaTauri. AlphaTauri just 3 points ahead of Haas, 44 and 41. Those back 3 all very close to each other, and then Aston Martin scoreless all season. And we were there a year ago. We had 4 points last season. 4 points last season. We finished with 238 this year. That is huge. All 4 staff members are secured at least through next season, so none of them are going anywhere. And all of our drivers are secured through at least next season, with both seats, though, becoming available at the end of next year. Now, audience, you have spoken, and the obvious thing to do is stick with Albon for 1 more year. He had such a good season that he has earned the right for that seat for 1 more year, and then we will probably just let his contract expire and move Jack Doohan into the seat at the end of the season. And so Albon will have 1 more season with us at the very least, if he doesn't somehow keep that, even longer term, going into the following year. But at the very least, he'll get one more season. I'm loving, though, that Pourchaire is so affordable for us, and Jack Doohan's making more than Pourchaire, and Pourchaire's in the car. But yeah, Albon, I mean, you can see he's making a lot more money, but we can afford it. It's fine. Also, as we hit December 1st, we have 26 million. That, with our build for next year's car, gives us some extra money to make sure we are hammering out some upgrades right at the beginning of the year, even before we get into the first race of the year, to make the car really strong, like we did this year. I mean, we were aggressive, but we did it on a very limited budget, and I don't think we're going to have a budget limitation with it this time around, which could see the car firmly planted above the midfield and maybe competing with the top three. I don't think we're going to actually get to the top three just yet, maybe by the end of the coming season, but not at the start of it. And here is the end of season review. Target position was 7th. We finished 4th. Long-term objective was score points in 50% of the season races. We did it in 15 out of 22 this year, in year 2. So well ahead. So that's complete. We'll see what our new long-term objective is. Hopefully that comes with some extra money. I don't know really what that does. Constructors Championship 4th. Driver's best position was 6th. And here is a big thing. The team rating is rising by quite a bit here. So team rating from 466 up to 585. Constructors, we gain over 100 points in our notoriety for the position. Drivers, not a big amount. It's 16 points there for Albon, but it's still something. So we're up to a 585 now. That's a big gain. And finally, even though we did even more a year ago, we did much more this year than a year ago. Board confidence is identical to what it was a year ago, so our team bonus, 1.5 million. But that team prestige thing is a huge thing, and that 100-point boost should bring us a higher budget next year. How much higher, though? Because it's long-term trend? I don't know. That's one season. Most recent season is the most relevant, but it is a 4-year revolving thing. The previous 3 were still bad. So how much more money will we have in the coming season? It's going to be more. I just don't know how much more. By the end of the season, our pit crew that had balanced development throughout the year got into mid-70s everywhere other than wing adjustment, and we're going to see a decline of 39 points in the upcoming season, essentially 10 per, with wing adjustment just dropping 9, bringing us back down into the mid-60s. Of course, that always happens. I wish I could remember where we're at relative to a year ago, though, on this scene. Are we a little bit better now, or not? Or is it kind of right where we were? Okay, the regulation changes that we are facing. Cost cap, of course, decreasing by 5 million, and then we have that minor technical change that is focused more on low speed than high speed that we've overcome with the research that we have. And with our bonus, we now sit on 27.8 million. So again, healthy balance as we're going to head into the new season. Upgrade to the weather center is now complete. And with it now on a level 4, we have jumped to 90% accuracy. We were down at 64% because the level and the condition were both on the low side. That's going to make a big difference next season. Now, of course, season 1 was pretty dry. Season 2 was wet. Race after race after race. It was more than half. I'm going to laugh when season 3 goes back to being dry all the time. It'll be nice if it doesn't, because all but, 2 times we made the absolute right call at the right time and greatly benefited for it, including picking up our maiden win. We have 2 of those now, 1 for each driver. That was nice to get. Another upgrade done as well. The factory has been upgraded. So this is the manufacturing one. It's up to a level 3. The condition was really low. It was about to drop down into even lower stage, but development speed has now gone from 5% to 12% boost. So manufacturing of parts is going to definitely happen faster, but also the project capacity has increased to 4. That's going to be really useful. Final project for the front wing is done, and the rear wing will get done on the last day of the year as well. Just to check in on those projects and how much we have done. So chassis has no regulation changes, and we have done no research projects as a result. Side pods are the same. So our side pods and chassis will start the year in the same way they finished, but we will try to get some upgrades going early in the calendar year for that one. Front wing is done. Just one research project was completed there. Underfloor had just one research project. Suspension, we got 2 projects in research, and rear wing, a second project will finish up just before the end of the year. So in total, that's 6 research projects for the car. 4 of those essentially negate the losses that we are incurring entering the new year, and 2 of those are making the car better than what it was. Early January and prep for the year will all be new development and see the car better than what it's been. Alright, we're not going to go all the way through this period. Some of it's going to enter into the next episode and then try to get, race number 1. It's probably going to make for a particularly long episode, but here we are, January 1st, new season. Let's do this part and then see where we wind up for the new year coming up. And the funding for next year with sponsor obligations negotiated is definitely going up. Our team rating rank has gone from 8th up to 6th, even though we finished 4th. But like I said, you have your prior years. It's a revolving door of a number of years. So 1 year up the grade doesn't fix things right away. But the main fund definitely has increased. Sponsor obligations are going to add an extra 18 million, bringing us a grand total of 107 million this year. Now, I think our grand total last year was like 98 million. So I mean, it's better. It is better. It's going the right direction. An extra 10 million is an extra 10 million. Our preseason lump sum is 12.7 million added to what we have right now, so that'll bring us up to 46 million. And then our income per race is definitely up from about 3.4 million as our base to 4.2. So healthy increase in both areas, really. By the way, you get more when you take it per race than if you try to do it in a big lump sum, which was part of the reason why I wanted to put away a little bit of money for the new year, knowing that we can make more progressively throughout the year than just getting that big lump sum ahead of time. The other thing too is I've opted not to take these, which could bring in an extra about 2.5 million over the course of the year, as they would impact various things, specifically to the drivers and their performance. We do have driver appearances, but it's all Albon, and it's every single race weekend, so he's not going to gain as much experience. But hey, that's 6.5 million, unlike these that together are only about 2.5. The memorabilia room events actually don't add up to much. I'm wondering if I should maybe back off on this one, but it's just 25 days throughout the year. Same with this one being 15 days. They're not huge. That's a big chunk of change, and the merchandising especially. So this is where our lump sum is backed off a bit. Merchandising units, you have somewhere between 3,500 and 5,000 total units, and you purchase them for the year ahead of time. The cost for 5,000 is 16.8 million up front. But then our income per race is nearly double. So we're adding an extra 500,000 per race of what we would have if we were selling less. So ultimately we sell it over the course of the year, but we have to pay for it up front. So our grand total goes from about 5 million up to 8. So we're bringing in an extra, 3.5 million here. Well worth it. But like I said, that upfront cost is higher. Okay, for the moment, the board's still showing the same stuff from a year ago. I don't think it changes just yet. I think it updates like after the first of the year. But here is our balance. Here's our balance as we're going to go forward. So 2023 balance. Sponsorship funding 12.7, board payments 7.5 million, entry fee for the year means we are going to bring in an extra 18.3 million. So 18.3 million coming in. So the board is bringing in 7.5 million this year. Is that extra? Is that more than what it was a year ago? I don't remember. But this should see us at 52 million at the moment. All right. And here's also the outcome of research and regulation changes. You can see the chassis unchanged. Front wing, our research project. Boy, that's not indicative of what I saw from the research at all. So the brake cooling, we get a gain, but the high speed should have been a gain. That's a loss. Medium speed should have been equivalent. We should have had 0.25 from the research project that we completed. So it should have been equal, and the low speed was nearly covered off. The front wing should have been essentially a wash. That's showing us at quite a deficit. That's disappointing. That's not what I saw. But with the rear wing, we did 2 projects. Drag reduction, DRS delta, both huge gains. High speed, wash. Medium speed, wash. Low speed, 2 projects, and it only just about covered it. Not what was expected. Airflow sensitivity, 7.5%. Side pods, no change. Underfloor, extra drag reduction. High speed, nearly a wash. All of these outcomes are less than what I was seeing in the data when we were selecting these projects. All of them, outcomes are less. So low speed, 0.16 gain, 0.41 in losses. So we're losing a quarter of a kilonewton. That's a lot. So we have not covered it off yet. The car is going to be slower than it was, but we have gained in certain areas like the drag reduction, airflow sensitivity, and so on and so forth. In the suspension, we had 2 upgrades here, and this one is more like being a wash. So we've kind of had a wash in 2 areas overall where we had 2 upgrades, or at least just about, and the other 2 are definitely seeing a bit of a deficit. Drag reduction, brake cooling increased by 5%. High speed, 0.06 with a 0.05 loss. That one is a wash. Medium speed, 0.15 versus 0.19, close enough. Low speed, 0.16 versus 0.28. So we do lose 0.12 kilonewtons, but not bad. Airflow, 5% increase. That overall is a slightly better part than what it was. But yeah, that's surprising. Because that was definitely not what I was seeing in the data as we were doing the research projects. Okay, financials. Again, 5 million drop. Season prize share. Here's where we can really kind of see what's different. 10th, 47 million. Last year we made 50.8 million for finishing 9th. This year, that goes up by 19 million. There's the big increase, folks. 19 million. So maybe it was about 20 million better off than a year ago. On our increase, I was saying it was about 10 million better, was I not? Maybe it was 20 million. And the sporting regs, pole position, no change. Fastest lap, double points, still. I thought that changed. Points allocation, unchanged. I think they tried to do it. We voted against it. It didn't pass. Testing limit stays the same. Wind tunnel stays the same. But here's one thing that will not stay the same for us. We were 9th place. We had 88 hours. we're going to have 68 for each window here. That's going down by 20 in the testing limit. We went from 7 to now 5, so that's going to drop by 2 as well. So we will not have the same advantages that we had as we finished so much higher up the grid. Gearbox limit, ERS limit, engine limit stay unchanged. So I was pretty happy with the Ferrari power unit this past season. We made those engines last. We got through it pretty well this season, so that's why we're going to stick with the Ferrari for another year. 20 million in expenses for that one. So with that lump sum of 10 million and we spent 20, we start the year January 1st with 24.2 million. 24 million. We have 2.5 months until the first race in Bahrain. We are going to be looking to upgrade the car. I don't want to see how the cars are looking just yet. Let's save that for next episode, but we'll take a look as we wrap this one up at the grid. How is that one changing? Red Bull, unchanged. Ferrari, unchanged. Mercedes and ourselves, still unchanged. And you see just how far we are behind, though, in terms of the quality of the drivers. That is a factor. That is a factor in trying to go forward. For the Alpine, Ricciardo and Ocon. So Gasly is out. Alfa Romeo, it's Schumacher and Alonso. Alonso still on the grid and will be with Alfa Romeo. Is that again? That is who he was with. It's Bottas that's gone now, right? And Bottas moves to McLaren. And then Norris is there. AlphaTauri have Vettel and Guan Yu Zhou. Haas, bringing back Yuki Tsunoda and Magnussen. And then Aston Martin have Lance Stroll and Pierre Gasly. So that is our grid for the upcoming year. A lot of familiar faces. All right, folks, that's going to do it for this episode. Tune in next time to find out where the car stands. I'm a Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.